Hey guys, it's me back again with another exosister VOD review. I wasn't sure if I was gonna have a video to put up today, but I do. It's gonna be one deck VOD review plus the deck profile, so we're just gonna be doing that instead of the usual two reviews. Anyways, time to get right into it. If you have any questions about the deck at all, feel free to edit it, take a look at it. I will post the dueling book link in the description. I'm also going to be changing my upload times, just as a side note. I'm probably going to start uploading them more around like 7 or 8 in the morning. I have them scheduled at midnight for every day, but that's just not, I just think that's a bad time for reviews, and I just want to get the deck out there. So yeah, and now we'll get right into the games. So first, we're up against, this is another late night replay. Check out the last video if you're looking at that. We're playing against what looks to be Adventurer Dogmatica. I don't know if they're playing the Invoked engine because it doesn't really mesh well with the Fateful Adventure, because the right of Armiser says you can't activate the effects of monsters you normal summon. They're going to Ash the packs, which means we just pass. You'll see me doing this here a lot, but oftentimes the reason that, like I keep saying, I'm thinking about going to a 2-2 ratio instead of a 3-1 ratio that I have on Sophia to Irene, because it's a lot better to go Sophia and then activate packs, try to special Irene, versus activate packs, add Stella, normal Stella, special Sophia. One, because, it just loses to more right. Packs only loses to Ash, versus Stella losing to an Ash and Ogre. Not in like the typical sense, but like Stella has to activate on field, so you're not getting your XCs, and that's the end goal, right? So you lose to Ogre, you lose to Veiler, you lose to Imperm, you lose to so many more cards than just Ash. End phase, they're gonna Punishment, pop the Sanguine, gonna conk, or Sanguine set conk again. So what we see here is it's not actually invoked, it's actually Brave Eldlich, or Brave Dogmatica Eldlich. Not a huge fan of decks like these, just feels like you don't need the Eldlich engine. Like, I mean, obviously it's good, I'm not going to complain, but I feel like just like pure 30 trap Eldlich oftentimes is better, and like I don't play a lot of like the pure 30 trap Eldlich builds, just because I think that's floodgatey, and like I more want to play exosister, but like I think probably the optimal build if you're not trying to play exosister would be like, the Eldlich stuff. You're gonna grab a Golden Lord, go for the Fateful Adventure, add Water Enchantress, discard Eldlich. Water Enchantress, add right at Armiser. Yeah, so you can't activate the effect of special. You can only activate special summon monsters effect. And then they're gonna go Eldlich. Pretty standard stuff here. So I'm gonna be taking a lot of damage. I'm gonna be left on 200 life points exactly. This is one of those times where I'm gonna play it out. I don't know why I didn't conk to just body block. That's just one of those things where I should have conked and walked to body block, and like I'm really bad about that, especially with the Eldlich stuff. I need to get better about just body blocking, especially with like the Walkeros and the Conquistadors. Goes in match. Keeping it in is iffy on this, I'm not gonna lie, because like all the Eldlich stuff is light, all the Dogmatica stuff is light, so like they can play with 90% of their stuff. However, I was expecting like a DPE, just because that's all the variants of this deck I've seen are on DPE. I was right, obviously, because we can see the Fusion Destiny added. They banish. So they banished a lot of their and Link bosses. We're gonna add the Fusion Destiny, put everything back on the bottom. And so here, right, like I can't strike the DPE, so I need it to use its effects before I can strike it. What else do I have to say here? I got a Walkero, a strike, and a strike. Yeah, so 2 strikes isn't great here. This is part of the reason that you'll see in my build when I show it off later. I switched to Judgment because I think that it's a lot better. Goes in match, go DPE. I probably should have chained strike to this, because even if he can't activate the DP, he can't resolve it. So, I think I was just worried about maybe having something in hand that punished me really hard, like if he can activate the DP still, because I believe, because it's a delayed summon, I believe, yeah. I believe how it works is that you can activate it in the graveyard, as long as, because it checks on the time of resolution. It's like how you can't solemn it. So yeah, I would be punished with like an Eldlich in hand, and so I think that's what I was worried about. And he's gonna walk arrow there, and then just like in the scenario, I'm so far down in an advantage. I'm just gonna scoop it up. Probably should have played it out. Obviously Stella is a really bad draw, but yeah, he just kind of keeps popping everything. I think goes in striking DPE is probably really important there, because I then have a way to play. Well, that's it for our replay for the day. Here's our deck profile. So we got 3 Ellis, an Irene, a Sophia, 3 Sophia. Like I said, I've been considering changing up this ratio to 2-2 instead of 1-3. 3 Stella. Stella lists the best cards because they're free special. Obviously you need to have another exosister for both, but they're both very good. Stella definitely loses out to more stuff, especially in the format right now, like Ghost Ogre is a big one, and that's really crucial. So be careful when playing around that. Like if you have a Stella and an Ellis, use the Ellis in hand 90% of the time, unless you're worried about a Gravedigger, like one of the trap holes, they stop the effects in hand. That's about it. 3 Bodice. If you're not playing Trap Trick, probably cut this down to 2, and then play like maybe a 3rd Imperm, or cut the Imperms if you're playing Trap Trick. So that's 3 spots, and then you could main the Nibiru's, side in like a Bodice. 2 Armament, you don't want to draw this, but at the same time, you very often need to, because it's a way that you make plays proactively without your opponent doing anything, right? And like, with 5 of these, you're likely to see 1, and if you see 1, you can Mikolas search the other, and so that's where that's really good at, because just like going Bodice, flipping Armament on res is just insane, because it gets you into either Capistel or Sophiel without your opponent ever having to do anything, really. 3 packs, obviously it's the Rhoda of the archetype. It searches spells, it searches traps, it searches monsters. It's literally everything you'd ever want. Obviously the during the main phase restriction on this is annoying, just like how the you can only activate this card during your turn restriction. This one, your opponent's turn, actually, is just extremely annoying. Yeah. But those are the spells and traps. They have these weird restrictions, like Bodice, you can only special summon from the extra deck. That's only exosisters. That's important to remember. Because I'm pretty sure there's a few times, at least, where I've gone like Mikolas into Zeus after using Bodice. You gotta remember that. That's important. Arment, it's just really, really annoying to get off on your turn, and so if they don't have a monster special summon from the graveyard, you're just gonna set it and hope for the best to make a proactive play on their turn. Pax is actually insanely funny. If you're in that scenario, right, where you've already gone through Bodice like once or twice, and you're in a grind game, and you have like 3 Elisses in graveyard and 1 Irene in graveyard for some reason, because you like bricked on it, Ellis and Irene, and like you used 2 to special summon the Stella, right? You can use packs as effectively a mini Bodice, because you will have Irene, Ellis in the graveyard, so you can activate packs, set it, or you can search packs, set it, and then on your opponent's turn during their main phase you can special. 2 Eldlich, 3 Walker, or 3 Conk, 3 sanguine, 2 walk. Pretty standard ratios. 3 walk is too bricky for this deck. You don't want to be seeing more than you don't want to see Eldlich in your opening hand, but sometimes it's nice and it's good going second, so it's one of those. 2 is probably just the ideal ratio for Eldlich unless you're a dumbass on Master Duel. 3 conch, the pop is just so insanely good. 3 sanguine, you need the special summon, and 2 walk. Like I said, I think more than 2 walk, or if you're gonna play 3 walk hero because you think that's better, I think 2 conch is the right ratio. It's just too bricky with 6 traps, 9 total. 2 trap trick gets you to imperm, sanguine, or Vadis for free, basically. It does, again, it outs you of Vadis, so you basically are playing with 2 copies in the deck, which is why I say, I really don't need that 3rd activation of Vadis. It's mostly there for trap trick, and because if you hard draw it, it's really nice in case you get interrupted, and it's just a punish, and so you're playing, 5 of these punish cards, basically. It's trap trick, I'm iffy on it if I want to keep playing it, because of this, this clause right here that is the conundrum. Because you want to end off with trap trick, but you will probably have it if you have a sanguine set. It's just kind of this weird scenario where you're I can't both sanguine and Vadis, and that locks you out, especially if you draw conch, sanguine, 2 sisters. You're conch, sanguine, judgment, trap trick, right? That's a pretty good hand, but you're in that weird scenario where you can't get your pop and your exosister's rolling, and that's just one of the conflicts that you just kind of have to work around. 3 judgment. These pre-format ratios I was playing, you'll see it I think for a few of the new format ones too. I was playing strike in the main, and I just don't like it that much. The more I play, the more I think judgment is better. And even though we're paying a lot of life points with Vadis and Armament and packs, you have ways to get it back through the sisters. And it's just much, much, much better than strike, unfortunately. If strike was just a little bit better, I'd be playing strike all day long, but it just doesn't stop DPEs, the Brave engine very well. It's just one of those things. Goes in match, you gotta play your 1 floodgate, only light monsters. This is basically a mono light deck. If you check the extra deck, almost all of this is light except for Gustav, Access Code, Unicorn, and Link Spider. So, good floodgate. 2 imperm, you can banish it off trap trick, and if you draw it, that's always a plus. 2 cosmic, because, I just want more outs to back row, really. You could probably cut the 2 cosmic, you could probably cut the 2 trap trick, and a Vadis if you wanted to play a bigger exosister package, the gigabytes of the random use. Side deck, 1 Called by the Grave, 1 Harpies, 1 cosmic for back row matchup, or 1 Called by the Grave for if your opponent has a fuckload of hand traps. Back row matchups, control matchups, these 2 are really good in. Combo matchups, Nibiru. I'm extremely pilled on evenly matched. If I'm going second, this almost always comes in. It's a 1-for-1. Your opponent will negate it if they have a negate for it, and if they don't, you're going at least +3 or +4. Well, they're going -3, -4. You're not necessarily plussing, but you get the idea. You're just gaining so much advantage in the card economy, and it just forces out a negate. It's good against combo. It's good against control. Dark Ruler, again, just really good against the Brave stuff, against combo. And strike, if you're going first, you side out side out 2 imperms and maybe an Armament or a Vadis. Just whatever you feel is worse in the matchup. You can maybe side out a sister, and then it's just more, saying no. 1 Zeus, obviously insane. 2 Sophiel. 2 doesn't come up super often, but what it does, it's big, just literally saying to PK you cannot play. 1 Gibrine, this is the worst by far, unfortunately, because it is the negate. You could probably, You could maybe do 2 Gibrine, 1 Osophiel, but I think Osophiel just comes up so much that like you'd rather do 1 Capistel, 2 Gibrine. 2 Capistel, I'm getting less and less pilled on this. It's not that great, honestly. Nobody's really summoning from the graveyard without activating the effect in the graveyard. I mean, I suppose Capistel is good if you want to try to force your opponent. Like if you have like a normal summoned exosister on board and a Vadis set, and your opponent, like you're not sure if your opponent's gonna go into more graveyard plays. I suppose Caspitel is better. Mikalace, I said she was like the Ray in the last video. I don't think that's fair. I think it's more like a Shizuku. Like at worst, right? If your Shizuku gets hand trapped or something, you're going 1 for 1. But at best, you're going like if Shizuku doesn't get hand trapped, you're searching your engage, which makes you go +1. And that's basically how I feel. Like you're going, like if she doesn't get hand trapped or interrupted, you're going +1. And if you're going second, you're going +1 in card economy anyways, because your opponent has to waste a negation on the effect, and then you get to banish something else. UDF package, I will evaluate this when, Defo comes out, and we get Magnifica. Not super sold on this, honestly, but it's really useful for making a format Zeus, and that's basically what I use it for. Gustav, if you get into a grind game and you have 2 Eldlich in rotation, this is just a nice, neat way to close out games and like can force out some interruptions. You got 1 access code, 1 unicorn, and 1 Lina. All of these are relatively good for laddering. There are a lot of popular light hand traps. I believe Ogre is a light. Unicorn is good spot removal, and access code is access code. I don't think I need to explain why access code is good. And then 1 link spider for your golden land traps. Well, that'll be it for me. Have a great day, everybody.